You tried to hold us down. You tried to make us strong.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station. This is the You Can Make a Difference show, and I'm your host, Mac McGregor. What we do on the You Can Make a Difference show is we talk with folks who are doing positive things to make a difference in our communities and in our world. Well, folks, I want to mention that this happy Friday, and I want to mention that Senator Dianne Feinstein passed away at 90 years old. She had an amazing life and career, was quite the trailblazer for women. But also some may not know the queer history. She actually worked with Harvey Milk and was there when he got shot and became mayor to fill his spot after he was killed. And she has been since Harvey was her friend and colleague, she has always been an advocate for LGBTQ rights and gun control. So she's been quite the icon and advocate for the LGBTQ community. So I want to pay a little tribute, shout out to Senator Dianne Feinstein, who was an amazing advocate. Thank you for her service, and may she go on her next journey in peace. So today we have a local artist with us. She does some very interesting flow type of art. She says that creativity helps her connect to the infinite creative flow. Her art is an exploration of the natural cycles of creation and destruction that are found in our bodies, in the world around us, and throughout the cosmos. Please welcome to the show, Naomi Jean Cooper. Hey, Naomi.
Good morning. How you doing? Right. I'm getting myself in the, which way am I supposed to be looking?
Yeah, well, there you are. Yeah, you're looking forward. That's good. Yeah.
Good. Forward.
Right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with your art.
Sure. I was always prone to making art as a kid, and I was fortunate to be raised by a preschool teacher, so a woman who really valued creativity in the form of play, however that was. So despite the fact that I was otherwise in a fairly conservative religious home, creativity was encouraged. But I, went on to try to do something more practical with it, became a graphic designer. And I really didn't make fine art because I didn't feel I had something I needed to make or something I needed to say. And sadly, ultimately, at the time, I realized I didn't feel like I had something unique to offer the world. Which is something I started to unpack, the first time I started getting treated for severe depression. And started to realize that I needed to make some changes. And that's been peeling back a lot of layers over the last 20 years or so. And it's just interesting. I have learned about what my art means after I do it. I mean, I've been coming to understand it as it started to come through me, which was really early 2019. I'd been working for a long time to just peel back various layers, become healthier, to thrive. to let go with grace. You know, a marriage I entered into when I was 19 and 20, and you get married at night. It's what happens when you tell teenagers they have to get married first before they can have sex.
Right. Yeah.
And guess
Oh,
what? And
yeah.
this is the way. And then if you do it this way, it's all going to work out so great.
Yes.
It turns out that was a disappointing. That was not a success formula.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I deeply embraced that, and deeply embraced the importance of that commitment. And so my ex and I both like hung in there a long time.
Yeah.
And eventually to just, it's okay. Life cycles, things
It's true.
Things come in, things go.
Right.
Don't hang on to things forever. It's never been how the universe works. But it really took me a long time. I mean, I've just been in the process of my own deconstruction and deprogramming. So now I'm, so 2019 was really, I think, a turning point for me where I let some key things go in relationship to that. And as soon as I did, I was just getting up in the morning, like starting a cup of coffee, and then not getting to the coffee because I was just at my kitchen table making art with whatever art supplies I had laying around. And I was like, wow, I was using a lot of creative energy to kind of hold up some things.
Yeah.
And convince myself it was working.
Yes.
But when you're so trained into that space, you can't see past it. You can't imagine differently.
Yeah.
And I know you've been on your own path with that.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And so ultimately that was it became a way for me. Making art was a way for me to connect with myself and just figure out, who am I outside of these other constructs, because I haven't practiced being in touch with myself or giving my own voice in my head priority.
Right.
So the act of art in a kind of a flow state is to literally just be like, I'm making this mark now because it's what I feel like doing, because it feels good to me. I'm doing this merely because it feels good to me.
Yeah.
A tiny, attainable step at saying my pleasure and happiness matters, even if this doesn't impact anybody else.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's you talk about like some of your art that I've actually watched you do live.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoy doing at live performances, especially musical performances. And I love that because music is very inspirational, to many people in a lot of ways. But with you, you like to listen to that and let it like inspire you. And then you're doing art while you're hearing the live performance. Talk to us about how did you just bring your sketch pad one time and this just started, or did you like have an epiphany that I need to do this? How did that start?
Right. Yeah, it's a fun story and it's all very local related. So I'll try to just reference the local things.
Yeah.
So I have two kids who went to Hawthorne Elementary School and Aki Middle School and are at Franklin now. They just gotten old enough. They had some extra needs that made being home more intense for about a decade. And I was just carving out a little time in the evening to go out, and Crowdsource Choir was just starting and in Hillman City. And that was a one evening commitment at a time. And so I could get out and sing with some folks. Yeah. And that felt great to let myself do that. And Joe started bringing in some local musicians to help us out. And I think the first one was Evan Flory Barnes, who's a long time neighborhood,
Yeah.
Staple. And he's like, hey, I'm playing at Lottie's on Sunday evenings. Like, come down. You know, he invited us all to come down and listen to him play some of his original music. And I'm like, Sunday evenings, I can get out of the house Sunday evenings. So I started going, and yeah, just getting out of the house in that way was new to me, especially since I got married at 19. I didn't really do normal college going out.
Right. Yeah.
And I was going on my own and felt pretty okay, but I stopped to get some paper and pencil and just kind of doodle. Like, I liked to kind of be like, I'm alone, but I'm okay. I'm not awkwardly alone. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, and that's a small space with regular folks, and you know, Evan could see what I was doing, and could tell that I was listening to the music while I was drawing, and that there was a connection for me. And it really encouraged me early on that, like, it felt like what I was doing felt authentic to what he was playing.
That's great.
So, and you know, and then he just had some, friendly neighbors were there who were welcoming to me and encouraged me to go with them, check out some other things. You know, that summer I went to see the Black Tones at Chop Suey. That, you know, that was, and you know, this was all just after being holed up at home for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. So I kept bringing my art. I kept doing it. I started doing it with more intention, listening to the music and taking it with me other places. And the musicians, especially jazz musicians, immediately got that I was just kind of jamming with the vibe.
Right.
And so it was just really awesome to connect with local music community, because those are people who are living creatively and courageously.
Yes.
Making time for that, not because it's easy.
Right.
And you know, people of all genders out there,
right,
doing it, and encouraging me and getting to know the community.
Yeah.
So that art, in much of a way, like, manifested my desire to connect. And you know, kind of do new things and explore what I liked in ways that, you know, it wasn't a plan that I executed. You know, I'm going to make this art and then people are going to be interested.
Yeah.
And so I kept doing it. Luke Held is a member of our community who's had backyard concerts and been involved in a lot of jams, and works with our local band Reposado that's doing great out there, and you know, wonderful vibes.
Yeah.
And I could just show up and I could just be with that energy. Because I'm an extrovert. I don't like to be alone. Like, musicians have a way of collaborating that puts them with other people. And as visual artists, we haven't really figured that out.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But you're combining the two, which is really fun.
Yeah. So it's helped me keep things playful.
Yeah.
And that's so, I think, like, important. So as I try to take my art more seriously, I also have to make sure not to take it more seriously.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Not like you're stuck seriously. That makes
right. Or trying to explain my art to the point where it just feels like it kills it.
Right. It's about a flow.
Yeah. And I really feel like music and art are ways that can connect us as humans in a way that doesn't use words. And words, we just get all so hung up on the words.
Many people do, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting that you said it, because I was just listening to a neuroscientist explain that when we get in what we call a flow, at whatever it is that you're an expert at, whatever it is that you do, your thing. When you're in a flow, your frontal cortex actually shuts down and other parts of your brain light up because you're not having to think it through when you're in a flow.
Right.
Yeah. Our frontal cortex is the part that is the thinking part that's analyzing. And when we're really flowing in something that we know how to do and we enjoy and we love, it just allows other parts of our brain to come alive. It's really cool.
It is. It's very, it's a really satisfying way to spend my time. And when I get to do it with friends in community while listening to music, I'm like, and it's great. So that's one reason I've ended up doing a lot of work in pencil, small scale work in pencil and markers, because that's easy to take. And just, I'm not getting like permission to set up art. I'm just getting a beer and, finding a table.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to have big easels or things like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then people, overall, people feel like they want to just come talk to me. Just come talk to me about making art and what I'm doing.
I love that. So let's talk about what Daniel's showing here. If we can go back to that about a little bit about what you were doing there. Look at the tree. That's great with all the roots. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an example of the tree I did in more of a silent contemplation on the last new moon,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's silent listening to myself is good still.
Yeah. I know we have a few other shots too. Maybe you can when he shows them, you can just explain a little bit about so that painting behind your head there. Yeah, tell us about that.
I call Stardust and Desire. Really an homage to us being made out of stardust and all carrying the spark of the divine and embracing that. And then embracing the power of our own desires, which is, as you know, completely taboo.
Yes.
I mean, like in religious cultures, and not just even like related to sex, but like just related to like you put everyone else ahead of you all the time.
Right.
It's the general thing.
Right.
And there's I've had some great experiences being in service to other people.
Yeah.
But we don't end up connected to ourselves. So there was a photo, the black and white one that I'm holding, I started and did mostly at Tractor Tavern during a show and finished at home. And I call that one Release Receive. So very good. It's a full moon today. That's a good full moon sentiment. And then I was able to do an art show at the Fremont. Art Walk is not kind of real consistent right now, but it was in Fremont. And in collaboration with some creative visual musicians up there. And I think you and that's the one, you and Don came by.
I did. Yes, we did. Yeah.
And that was the first time I got to see a room, like be in a room with my paintings on the walls all around like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was great.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, you're okay. Oh, look at that one. Yeah, Fire Flow.
Yeah, that's a little 12 by 12 painting. I started using paint during COVID. Why not? I have lots of painting in the backyard.
Yeah. I like all the color in it for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so it's interesting, right? Because it's everything to me. The range of what feels authentic is all black and white drawing, ink pen, up to just really messy paint, and kind of whatever I'm feeling like doing.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find fun, I've seen you a few times post, I'm going out to this local music venue tonight and I'm going to sketch. If you want to bring your art supplies and we can do it together. You encourage people to come out and try and experience this.
Yes, or just pencils and paper are cheap, so I try to have some to share.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes people take me up on it.
Right.
But there's so much I'd like to do. I mean, in terms of, that the challenge of just wanting to do 100 different things and having a hard time moving one of them forward. But encouraging other people to connect in that way and just have fun and be like, you can't do it wrong. So it's like it's dancing with pencils.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I came down to, because they're like, what are you? And some people try to analyze it. Like, are you doing I'm like, no, you can't overthink it. Just feel it, feel how you want to move it. And you happen to have a pencil in your hand. And then I'm like, you don't have to show anybody.
Yeah.
You can throw it away. You can share it. So one of the photos was Marina Albero is a wonderful jazz pianist here in Seattle, a Seattle treasure, we'll call her. And she had a backyard series. And I knew, it would be outside in the daylight instead of dark inside. And she's always been really encouraging to me. So I asked if I could show up and actually work on an easel near the stage instead of on a table. And also really brought materials and encouraged everyone to participate if they wanted to. Yeah. That's awesome. And Reese at Folk Life, Reese and Ben are excited to have me figure out how to help bring that into the makerspace.
At Folk Life, that would be awesome.
To make and create. They really want to encourage, in general, people to do more of their own creating while Folk Life. So
I love that idea. Yeah. And, you were mentioned earlier that you had struggled with depression. And I just, the work that I do with people as a coach and a facilitator. And so one of the tools to help people with their mental health is art, is getting involved in the arts, because it's an outlet, like I said, that accesses different parts of our brain. And it also lets off happy chemicals. We have our own pharmacy inside that we can access that lets off what we call our happy chemicals. Yeah.
Right. And coming through severe depression, I know that making time for my joy is not a bonus activity.
No, that's a good point. A lot of people
it is essential to survival.
It is essential. Yes.
Yes. And I think with the struggle with severe depression, if I want to live authentically, then my authentic feeling is everything sucks. And the world is a terrible place and it's heavy. And the reality is that there is so much
there's a lot of
injustice and terrible things going on out there.
Right.
But we can have joy anyway. And I really feel like the thing that I've been able to grow an understanding of from anyone who's part of a marginalized community is that's been known in those communities, I think, for longer, that you have to claim your joy.
Yes.
While and it's not ignoring the oppression.
Right.
Like
or
it's
the
not
struggles that you're under. Yeah.
So I have gone from where I was at to just continuing to feel into and live my best queer poly life.
Yeah.
While still raising my kids cooperatively with my ex while we live together and get them out of the house. And so just to be like, we don't have to do, we can write our own stories.
Right. Yes. You're adults, as conscious adults. You can make your own choices. You don't have to do it the way society conditioned you to do it. Or
Right. And about 10 years ago, Brené's book,
Brené Brown, yes,
Braving,
Braving. Oh, that's
Braving was
such a
the
great
key.
book. Such a good, yeah.
That was rewriting our stories was her
Yeah.
message, and something, you know, I was listening to Brene and Glennon.
Yeah.
At that time, they really kind of helped me get through some of the roughest.
They're both.
And that journey has brought me into contact with many wonderful people, including you.
Oh yes, thank you. We love your art and what you do. And tell people, let's show people how to find you and have access to your art. Go ahead, tell us about your website.
I have a website, NaomiJeanCooperArt.com. That has a little information and is primarily my art, a place to buy my art. So please do check that out.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Instagram, Naomi Jean Cooper _art, and Facebook, similar.
Yeah.
And I am really making an effort this quarter to prioritize, just getting my art out there more. I just got confirmation that I'm going to be able to exhibit at the Belltown Art Walk next month.
Awesome.
I don't know the details yet. And I really want to work
That's a
more
great
with.
art walk.
Yes. I've been in West Seattle Art Walk.
Yeah.
Some different places. So just connections and things. And that's really through an art and music connection that is great to see come back around. Super fun.
That's wonderful.
I really want to move into collaborating with business owners and homeowners and creating art for their, custom art for their spaces. So I'm figuring out how to do all those things and all the other things I need to be doing. Yeah. And I'm so glad to
Naomi,
be here.
thank you for sharing your art with us. Thanks for sharing your art with us and sharing with the community. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. I will be out and about in Columbia City. I'm at the Royal Room a lot, and I encourage people to DM me or say hi to me and say they heard about me on your show.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Have a great weekend.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Stay tuned for Seniors Matter.